The one question I always get from friends and family is tax-free savings account or RRSPs. How do I invest my money, right?
It's tax season and we're all trying to save money because the government definitely takes too much of our money. I am grateful for the free healthcare, but I mean, it would be good to save a couple of dollars or learn how we can save during tax season and get a great refund. I spoke with chartered accountant and tax expert Yembeh Moiba, who gave me 5 tips on how to save money and maximize our tax refund. So the pandemic has been 2 years long and a lot of people are working from home. So how about we start there? What money can we save during tax season when working from home?
Absolutely, yes. And like you mentioned, over the last 2 years, a lot of people have been having to work from home. And the big thing there is home office expenses. And essentially what that means is you can claim a portion of your home expenses on your income tax return. For instance, I'll take a simple example here. Let's say you're somebody who rents a place in downtown Toronto. Let's say you pay $2,000 from a month for rent. So that's $24,000 a year. And let's say this condo is about 600 square feet, right? But you use about a quarter of that as your office, right? So that's 150 square feet. So 25% of your rent, which is about $6,000, you can actually claim that on your income tax return as home office expenses. And on top of that, you can claim a portion of stuff like your internet and some of your utilities.
I was told that I need a certain form to collect those taxes for the home office. Is that true? Does your work have to provide some sort of form?
Yes. So you actually have 2 options with this. There's the simplified version, which you do not need a form for. And with this one, you can claim $2 a day for your home office expenses, right? But if you do want to claim a portion of the actual expenses, you will get your employer to give you a form. Basically, the form just says that this employee is required to work from home.
I actually moved 2 times last year. I moved to 2 different provinces. I moved to Alberta, then I moved to BC, and then I moved back to Ontario. So I know that I can claim some stuff on my taxes if I'm moving. And this is especially important for students that have to move for school too. So what can I claim?
It's called the moving expenses. And if you're a full-time student and you're moving 40 kilometers closer to your school, you can claim things like your moving expenses, meals along the way. Or if you're a full-time employee, you're moving 40 kilometers closer to your work, you can claim the same things. In your situation, you move back and forth. Let's say if you're moving from BC to Ontario, as you can see, that those costs can add up, right? So it's something that people should keep in mind when, if they're relocating for full-time school or employment.
Do you want to give a little details on how someone would go about and claim that?
Let's take an employee who moved, from BC to Ontario for work. Let's say it costs you $2,000 for airfare, and let's say you had to rent a U-Haul to, transport all your things. That costs you, say, $5,000, right? So you just have to keep the receipts. And when you go to file your income tax return, there's a spot where you can put your moving expenses, right? And essentially that's all you have to do.
Housing prices are expensive, but there's still a lot of first-time home buyers out there. What benefit can first-time home buyers get this tax season?
Absolutely, yes. And actually there's a misconception about this, that it has to be your first home. That's actually not true. It just has to be that you've purchased a home in the last 4 years, right? So I think that's something people miss. So if you're somebody who bought a house 5 years ago, you can still take advantage of the situation. What it is a $5,000 credit that you can get when you buy a home. And that amount works out to about $750 of tax savings. And if you're somebody who has a spouse, you can either split the amount or one person can claim it on their income tax return, right? There are a few things to just keep in mind. For instance, if you live in Ontario or BC, and you make over $150,000, unfortunately, you will not be able to take advantage of this. In other provinces, the amount is reduced to about $120,000.
So we know being a student is hard. You don't have a lot of money, but the great thing about tax season is you can probably get back some of the money. So what can students claim during tax season?
So as a student, if you pay tuition in the year, you get a form and it'll have the total tuition paid. And with this amount, it's a tax credit. It's something you can use to offset your taxes. The good thing about this is, let's say if you're a student and you don't have enough income to use up all this tuition you paid, you can actually transfer up to $5,000 to parents, especially if you're somebody whose parents pay for your tuition. When you give it to them, it'll help them save about $750 in taxes. And if you're somebody who parents don't pay your tuition, well, you can sell this to them for a discount, and you both win in that situation, right?
Hopefully your parents will give that money back to you though, right?
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah.
So last tip we want to talk about is for entrepreneurs. What benefit do entrepreneurs get during tax season?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you mentioned, if you're somebody who is self-employed, or even if you're employed and you have a little side hustle, your filing deadlines are extended till June 15th. That being said, if you're going to owe taxes, you still have to make the payments by April 30th, right? But at least, you can make the payment and then file the taxes later on June 15th. So this comes in handy for, if you're busy, you have a business you're trying to run while also working, you get some leeway in terms of when you have to file your taxes by.
When you say you can make the payment, how do you know what payment you have to make if you haven't filed your taxes?
In this situation, you probably have to work with your accountant a bit. If you're self-employed, you're going to owe taxes because, you're not sending any taxes every month to CRA, so you have to make that payment. If you don't make that payment, you'll have some, fees that will come along with that. You have to estimate how much you think you'll owe in June and pre-make that payment. But at the same time, you can wait till June 15th to file.
Is there any last tips or pointers that you need to give to us millennials that are struggling with our tax season?
Well, I guess the one question I always get from friends and family is, tax-free savings account or RRSPs, how do I invest my money, right? The answer I always give is, it depends. That being said, if you're somebody, who's not earning, say, $100,000 or over yet, I think the tax-free savings account offers you a lot more flexibility, in the sense that you can put cash in there, you can take cash out, at any time you want, as opposed to the RRSP. Once you put money in there, it's harder for the money to come out. So, to make a long answer short, tax-free savings account offers you a lot more flexibility, right? But if you're somebody who's owning a lot of money, go with the RRSP because, whatever, there you go, because whatever money you put into RRSP will help reduce your taxable income, which means you pay less taxes.
If you found these tax tips helpful, let us know in the comments below. And make sure to like and subscribe to our Narcity channel to see more great content.